Welcome to the most unreasonable video that I've ever made. With 151 players loading into the map, the unit limit set at 32,000. The circumstances and the name of the game beyond all reason. It's made by volunteers, open source, free to play, based on total annihilation, but it will cost you a whole chunk of your sanity and even more of your free time. So while you got any of both of those, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button, maybe even subscribe. Help me count the algorithm. And Jimmy, what do we have? 1,151 likes on this video and this cast. I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways because I don't know what else I do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Once upon a time, there were 3 kingdoms. 50 commanders in the kingdom of Cortex to the south, with their massive behemoths and juggernauts ready to trample their enemies. To the west, 50 commanders of the Legion gathered, mustering their units with the technology to set the world aflame and preside over the ashes. And of course, last but certainly not least, the advanced armada, with 50 commanders ready, with precise long-range weaponry, always looking for a weakness. 150 commanders loaded into Krakatoa. Only one kingdom could reign supreme. But they were all of them deceived, for another commander had spawned. A developer by the name of Petak on the top of the mountain, joined in spirit by his fellow developers, spawning in a sort of Archon mode situation where they can control units, and with infinite resources. From the top of the mountain, the developers beset on all sides. Yes, a 3-way deathmatch, but with Mount Dev in the center. Their only goal is to hold the mountain. And it's not just that the mountain is valuable for the mountain's sake, but with multiple geothermal emplacements and the fact that the high ground truly does matter. And beyond all reason, the mountain is worth taking. Already a challenger approaches Emmer with his armada commander. Petak chose to spawn his armada as well, but do not be deceived. All right? That doesn't mean anything. All that matters is the color, or adjacent color, because there's so many players that it's almost impossible to actually be like all blue, otherwise you wouldn't be able to tell anything. I digress. So, infinite resources for the developers. Their only goal is to hold Mount Dev. But from Olympus, we'll see what spews forth. Actually, I'm not sure what the rules are, but I'm pretty sure the goal is just hold. Emmer for the Armada, probably the highest level player at rank 64 in the game as well, trying to challenge them. A laudable goal. Meanwhile, the lines are drawn. The Armada and Cortex finding a battle line to the east. Thule, Zila, Swallowbug, those light laser turrets on the low ground. A commander has already been destroyed. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we have the Legion pushing forward, as the Cortex not matching them in the gap. A beautiful, lush battlefield for now. Those Legion units well suited to all-terrain features. And meanwhile, Petak set on all sides. It becomes clear that it's not going to be easy to take the high ground. Zamta moving forward. Mass, so it appears the developers have not graced themselves with the ability to build units instantly, but instead just infinite resources. So they must still construct things. The Mosquito gunships from the Legion contesting. I'm not sure what happens if the commander gets taken down. Do they just lose and the mountain could be claimed? We will see, but plenty of anti-air. And right now, it looks like 3 or 4 other developers have joined Petak in holding the mountain. Technically, there is a functionality where multiple players can control one player. Kind of like Archon mode from StarCraft 2. So what's happening now is they're all controlling parts of Petak with infinite resources. The developers working against the players in a way that usually only forum posts correctly accuse them of. We have the passes being filled by the early bots on each side. The thugs of the Cortex against the maces of the Armada. A few small differences, details, and stats and effectiveness, but relatively equivalent overall. Meanwhile, I think we need to bring back the mini-map for this one, as traversing the entire map is going to be a bit of a difficult proposition. Ooh. Another commander over on the western front, getting chased down by, are those satyrs? Yes, the plasma bots from the Legion. Legion generally has a mix of units, being a unique faction beyond all reason. Not based on some of the previous inspirations. And now it appears the developers are fighting back. They've got their own Centurions and pushing down the mountain. Of course, terrain very much matters. Bots can walk up and down hills, but they can't go up a sheer cliff. So that is limiting some of the angles in which they can attack. Artillery doesn't care as much, but every projectile, every laser, range, altitude, whether Jupiter's in retrograde, all these things matter. Meanwhile, the push to the north. Mace is blasting through the Legion line. Carquinos will match against them, but that is, the numbers don't lie, and they spell potential disaster. Potentially a res, yes, with the res bots, it might be able to do so. Some of the ticks from the Armada looking to fill in the gap, but the mosquitoes from on high descending on Barium 141 as he tries to muster the defenses, unleashing their gunship rockets. And there's limited to no anti-air. They might have enough to take him down. He's trying to dodge. They don't have perfect accuracy, but it might be enough. Almost out of ammo. They may have to restock, but no! Down he goes. The battle continues. Another one in the past between the Legion and the Cortex. As the battle heats up, and I have neglected to mention the naval combat that is possible here. It appears the island of Krakatoa is surrounded entirely by water, which is almost as constricted as the land itself. But so far, besides the developers, the economy is relatively even. Commanders dying left, right. So far, center, relatively safe from it. As the developers have held down the summit of the mountain. And now working into tier 2 tech as well. Plenty of storage. Meanwhile, a few spiders from the Armada sneaking in over the hills, it looks like. Spiders definitely very valuable here, considering, you know, gestures wildly at the contours of the map. Spiders can traverse any terrain that, well, that you can climb. Even sheer cliffs. And then oftentimes they can fire from it, making them especially valuable in a scenario such as this. I don't know why I'm speaking like this. We started out so poetically. It's ingrained now. Okay, just like and subscribe, or I shall curseth you. See, now I ruined it. Moving on. Meanwhile, the wind power at 14.4 per second on average, making them a strong choice. Tidal power at 15, making it kind of mediocre for cost. And we already see some of the fusions, which usually end up dotting the field, coming up. The outer ring still mostly untouched. The summit held by the devs. Aircraft always flying at a set height above the terrain, creating some interesting patterns. As we see there, are those martyrs? No, those are just rockets. The devs have deigned it within their purview to construct dragons. Yes, they are building dragons at the top of the mountain. Usually a Cortex unit, but they are cosplaying as all three of the kingdoms, or factions, however you want to describe it. The Legion pushing down the outer ring. Over to the west, though, they've got some arquebus rail guns, also a spider. Phalanxes in the front, just blasting forward. Help! Help! Anyone! There's like 40 of you! But no help came. The Phalanxes leading the charge, as unsurprisingly they should. Those shield bots for the Legion A great frontline option. But the dragons descend. Wait, these are Cortex dragons. These are not Dev dragons. I mean, they're from the Cortex either way, but the dragons descended and drove the Legion back. Legion clearly taking note of such things. It appears Pitak, in order to, with just the amount of bias that you expect from developers of any multiplayer game, providing insurance. I'm not sure if that's the real commander. It appears they spawned themselves extra commanders. Not decoys, but instead. And now the dragons are raining fire down. Wow, that looks amazing. From the mountain. Down on anything below, which is, well, gestures wildly at the entire map. Meanwhile, the Armada gunships sneaky around actually might even find. It appears the Armada has found Pitak. Though, will they actually press the issue or continue on to the Cortex? As the developers surely have something up their sleeve. Meanwhile, more Banshees. The gunships and the Commander explosion taking out most of the center ring. The Legion is driven back. Struggling now. But the dragons defending the summit. It seems the devs mostly content, but they're building artillery emplacements across the ridges that are shelling down now at the Cortex base. The Sheldons themselves trying to climb the mountain. But why are they climbing the mountain? Flame turrets as well. The Sheldons struggling, but eventually getting there. There does seem to be a ground pass that allows them to climb, but the dragons seem like they're having none of it right now. The Sheldons obliterated before the dragons can even make their appearance. But the dragons, they're home guarded, will turn. Meanwhile, though, recluses from the high ground, raining down a commander, eating an entire salvo of rockets while the recluse is sitting on high. The spiders will climb around the pass to great success and starting to cut into the help. Calls rain out. Rain, both. Some gunships. The wasps coming in, but wasps might be a natural counter to spiders. But I think it really depends on the situation. There's a fusion here. A chain reaction wouldn't be too devastating. There seems to be enough space. The naval combat continuing. Spiders cleaned up. Cortex pushed back by a concerted effort from the Legion. The Arquebus in the back, the Phalanxes in front holding the line. Meanwhile, the inner pass is a bloodbath. But some of the Arquebus from the high ground raining down with their rail guns. Less overall damage than the recluse of the Armada, but much longer range and single target. And the dragons again, incinerating anyone with the hubris to challenge the supremacy of Dev Mountain. Meanwhile, though, the Legion Armada battle continues with Banshees above and plenty of tanks. Fat boys, massive artillery bots moving forward. The Legion starting to get pushed back. Almost nothing left to contest them. We'll just have a few of the Gladiators, mid-tier tanks. Very strong and surprisingly long range. The Banshees will be taken down. The anti-air shredding them. Another push. A Bastion holding the... Wait, no, those are incinerators. Holding the line as the wreckage continues to pile up, and units will trip over it. They do have collision. The Mauser artillery trying to blast forward. Sharpshooters behind the Pulsars. Armada known for their long-range options. But the mine layer... Ooh, mine layer bombers. I haven't seen too many. The Harbingers dropping the mines in the midst of the army. And some of them being triggered by the Sharpshooters. The gift that keeps on giving. Bit of Minecraft gameplay here. I've not seen the Harbingers used, but it seems like an ideal scenario. Oh my. There are over 9,000 units on the map. The Cortex taking up an undue amount, despite the efforts. And they're actually challenging Mount Dev. Spiders still climbing up. The dragons are called in a pulsar on the high ground. Some vanguards as well, the gantry. Bringing those tier 3 units to bear. And it's a kill. It's an absolute, I would say, bloodbath. But the wreckage strewn across the field. Oh, big gunship fleet. The wasps are swarming over the Armada front line.
Commander self-destructed. Commander destroyed.
Commanders being destroyed left, right, and I assume some towards the center. The wasp wiped out, though, for the most part. There's enough anti-air. Gunships are very vulnerable to direct anti-air. They're good behind the lines and if they're able to slip through, but my demons were erased by the line of the Legion. Meanwhile, Decurions, some mammoths on the high ground, creating quite a cinematic situation. Rockets raining down. Commanders still trying to salvage things on the back line. And we have more coming out. Are those, I want to say, javelins? We'll see. But the Legion building up, the camera tripping on all the terrain. Now this is where the real action's happening. Oh, Myrmidons! Armed all-terrain drone carriers who have essentially one of everything for their weaponry. They have some drones, they have long-range cannons, they have anti-air, they have short-range lasers. And you're paying a premium for them as well, but the Legion covers all their bases. Nothing necessarily incredibly well, but maybe well enough. Those cluster artillery options. And, oh yeah, they're also spiders. As they climb the hills. The constant stream of mostly tier 1 tanks trying to challenge them. The Legion's starting to get pushed back. How's the naval battle going? Relative stalemate, it seems. Mount Dev, the dragons, seem like they're coming down from the mountain. Descending on the Cortex yet again. The anti-air challenging them, some of them dropping in the midst. Not able to target too much. Many of the dragons will be taken out before they even get close. Over 10,000 units. The Cortex still with the strongest economy, besides, of course, the asterisk of the developers. We're using some Titans ready to fall from the mountaintop. Legion pushed back by the Armada to the north, and flagships actually going on the edge of the map through the narrow strait between the edge of the map and the cliff. And this could become a continuing issue. Some Karganeth walkers, tier 3, Shivas as well, blasting their way through the tier 2 that was once holding strong for the Legion. Cannot compete with the amount of firepower the Cortex is. It's a commander. He likes to watch back there in the corner. Who can blame him? The dragons overhead. Legion army being incinerated. And suddenly, well, the devs still holding the mountain pass and the cliffs. A killing zone. Every faction has some version of spiders. The Armada have the all-terrain heavy plasma cannon and can fire on anything nearby, using it to great effect against the Cortex. The Titans holding the mountain. The vanguards as well. You can see the killing zones. The sheer explosive nature of the weaponry at this point has created an almost no-bots land on each front line. But the Armada has broken through! The Thors are here! The lightning tanks just shading their way. The Legion unable to hold. Commanders coming down, Praetorians. Trying to hold, and they might... Oh, no! It's a disaster! Huge! Even commentated the explosion. That's my job. The Legion loses a massive chunk of their foothold. But the Dragons of Cortex, challenging the Dragons of the developers, they can't really fight each other because they don't really have great, if any, anti-air weaponry. But they will kind of jostle. This is fire-friendly, isn't it? Friendly fire. Well, the fact they got even close. The gods on their mountain may fall. Do the devs know best? Flagships coming through the gap, though. What does the Cortex have to match them? Multiple destroyers, gunships overhead. There's not much in support. They should be held off for now. But Mount Pitak is struggling. The Legion pushed back into the northwest. The Armada stretching out towards the south. A whole bunch of subs underneath. And the camera... I may have broken the camera. Jimmy! Un-camera me! I think I know how to fix it. Okay. Alright, I had to reset it. We got stuck in a mountain. That's okay. Alright, we survived it. We did not dig too deep, nor too greedily. The shields holding the high ground and sending the projectiles back from whence they came. But the Cortex are willing to challenge the gods. The Titans and the developers holding the high ground. The sheer menagerie of Cortex units lumbering around. More hits. Nuclear missile lands. And again, the Cortex with the economy. Dragons driving them back yet again. The developers have unlimited resources, but not unlimited build power to pound those resources into units and defenses. And that's starting to be the limiting factor. The Cortex is successfully challenging the mountain, at least for now. But it is drawing some of their attention down the center. They're not able to press any advantages really against the Legion, though the Armada is seemingly doing that just fine for them. A whole lot of gunships. Pulsars just lancing right through, but a Phoenix? Some Phoenix heat ray bombers ready to strafe. There's artillery firing over the mountain. And what is that? Oh, anti-nuke missile. Intercepts. I was like, I don't recognize that one, but anti-nuke missile makes sense considering the circumstances. The war continues. They try to climb the mountain. A bombing run from the Cortex is probably going to be hitting the Legion. Not much anti-air if they can get to the construction turrets and take it all out. They do. Another nuke knocked out of the sky, but the Legion suffering on all sides. Barely able to maintain the inner circle. The outer circle not looking great either. Sol Invictus is online. And then decides, you know what, I'd rather stay home today. And you know what? With this many tremors unleashing an indiscriminate amount of artillery in their general direction, can I really blame them? And behind it, catapult rocket bots. Ready to move forward. The Cortex marching. And the Legion coming up short. The catapults unleash a salvo. The Praetorians eating the brunt of it. Able to withstand. The developers still holding. They have some Legion, Sol Invictus as well. Multiple nukes! They call down the thunder from the sky! The developers unleashing at point-blank range a nuclear strike of absolutely How many nukes does it take to kill a Juggernaut? Apparently about 12 of them. And they will create a much wider pass in the mountain as well. I'm not sure if we have terrain deformation on, or it just looks like it, because it does tend to lag games that are at, 12.5 thousand units. The Armada has done a great job of filling up the space they have and maintaining most of that economy, at least from what we've seen. But a flagship from the Cortex is shelling from underneath. It has an angle on the fusions. Oh no. It's a disaster. More being taken down. Doesn't have a perfect angle though for now. Seems like at the first. Besides unlimited resources, the developers using their godly powers to call down nuclear hellfire. Still the Legion Cortex front. It looks like the Legion has held the sea for now, but the Cortex again, as we've seen in many of these matches, able to maintain such an economy. The Legion and Armada are no longer challenging the gods, but the Juggernaut, face to face. Inside the boat. We don't get to look. We can't look at that. That's inappropriate. Tough love. Getting hot. Hot and heavy. Bombers queuing up. Another. The bombing run is climbing the mountain. Hailstorm heavy strategic bombers are climbing into the skies, targeting Mount Pitak. The nukes will obliterate them before they can get close. Another salvo. The fact they're able to challenge them to such great effect. Torpedo bombers brawling over to the east and getting close enough to knock out some of the Armada economy in the sea. Torpedo bombers designed for killing things, well, in the water, all right? As you might expect. Sol Invictus. Another one, Tyrannus battle cruisers in the sky. A nuke intercepted. The conventional ones, the Sol Invictus lancing out, targeting the Juggernaut as it tries to climb the mountain yet again. The Juggernaut explodes, leaving a crater wider than your mother in the center of the mountain. And anything nearby, of course, suffering for it as well. Some atomic and strategic bombers coming in from the Armada, but mostly knocked down. The nukes challenging the Legion, which apparently had the hubris to challenge the gods. The devs, with great prejudice and I think one of them got intercepted. Apparently you could intercept the nukes from orbit. I guess the angle just has to be perfect. Oh. The battle continues. The developers, their dragons, the ire of the dragons now brought on the Legion, as they have been disgruntled, to say the least. But the kingdoms continue to do battle. The Cortex with a clear advantage economically, with just so many strong options for playing at 3 FPS and IQ. But through divine intervention, Mount Pitak has held. Meanwhile, to the north, atomic bombers being rallied into the flag, but the Thor blasted its way through. In the front line, another juggernaut taken down. The front line is barely holding for the Legion and Armada. The Cortex pushing them back to the west. More nukes! With extreme vengeance! But the bombers still make it through! The anti-air will engage. The physical area for anti-air is minimal. They literally can't put enough anti-air up there to reliably take out that many bombers. But they can summon apparently infinite nukes. And the destruction is not mutually assured. Oh my. Oh, that nuke just was intercepted close to the camera. It wasn't a massive explosion. I mean, it was relative. Meanwhile, the Cortex pushing through in the Armada front. The flagships for Armada holding the line. I think appropriately so. But the bots are marching. Demons in the front to lead the charge. Behind it, the Arbiter rockets. The flamethrowers. Multiple EMP missiles hitting Mount Dev. The demons will be taken down, but there's really not that much to defend the front. A nuke intercepted. Cortex to Legion. The Juggernaut. Again. Another orbital strike inbound. All units planet side. Take cover. There is no cover. The nuke's dangerously close. If somebody's hand shakes a little bit, the gods could be struck down by their own weapons. But the map coded the circuit board of that CPU that you probably actually can afford to play this game, but just not this with this many players. Oh my. Oh, the chain reaction! It's a disaster for the Armada. Another massive hit, still chaining through the weaker parts of the base. Will finally be mitigated, but the fusions! Oh no! Another one, the devs! The devs? A combination effort. But with this many players jammed in, it's inevitable that the economies will be difficult to spread safely. And apparently not at all. Starfall is online! The first long-range super artillery, and the Starfall uniquely useful, as it is not nearly as dependent on line of sight. A massive long-range artillery barrage, as opposed to the more direct plasma cannons of the Cortex and the Armada, is clearing the front line. The Starfall's late to the game, but better late than never? We'll see. Nukes in the sky, stars raining down. The mountain holds through divine intervention. Catapults unleashing salvo after salvo of mass rockets. Flagships laying on the plasma cannons as well. Long-range anti-air lancing out. Another, it looks like just fighters being rallied. The fighters meeting in the Dead Man's Crater, where so many hundreds, thousands of units died. I like how the devs had to put out shields just in case. The Karganeth climbing the mountain. The Armada suffering in general. More divine missiles. Ah, yes. You've heard of the Holy Hand Grenade, but have you heard of the Holy Intercontinental Ballistic Missile? No? Well, you won't be hearing anything at all if I get too close to them. The devs, though, struggling to maintain their position, but a massive chain reaction. The Cortex breakthrough. The fleets, can they even move? The flagships stacking on one another. creating an almost impassable area between them. The spiders climbing over every potential cliff and valley. Plasma cannons firing up the mountain at the shields of the developers. Hundreds upon hundreds of units climbing, ill-fated. Starfalls raining down in the midst of the Armada base. And now targeting the Cortex as well. Some well-placed Starfalls could splash over some very valuable parts of the economy. And the shields are failing. Another volley could change everything. The Starfalls unleash. Are there 3 of them? The Starfalls hitting long range onto the Cortex base. Splashing through the shields. Holding. But some of the projectiles are punching through. The fusions somehow survive. Nuclear missile in the sky. I don't see anti-nuke. Meanwhile, the Starfalls will hit the nuke, targeting that left side. Not getting too greedy, but the fusions, how are they still alive? The nuke targeting the sea.
Commander has been annihilated.
Oh, and the mountain! The gods can bleed and be destroyed. The Cortex have slain the developers. They are so imbalanced. Even the weight of Cortex is too much for them, despite infinite nuclear missiles in the best position on the map. The Cortex eventually overwhelm them. And then they respawn and are immediately killed again. And now, the dragons of the Cortex, the true dragons, the true blood dragons, sally over the mountain and unleash hellfire upon the Legion. And the Legion, completely unprepared for it. More nukes. The devs, I think, still have divine powers and are using them to dramatic effect. The nukes will rain down. The Legion is melted under the incinerating fire of the dragons. The wrath of the gods will continue until somebody decides they get bored, which I think is pretty lore accurate for most gods. And for what seems like every time in one of these matches, the Cortex seems like they will reign supreme. Able to prevail even over the developers. And even over my frame rate. Oh, it appears they re-added units. And calling in divine intervention does have a tendency to break things. Even more than 150,000 players. No, 150 players. 150,000 would also be rough. The Legion, the Cortex Navy, has broken the lines. The flagships and the submarines making their way past. The Starfalls did not rain down fast enough. The dragons will climb yet another cliff, but there's a whole lot of anti-air waiting for them, just knocking them. Oh, that is actually surprisingly tanky. The Cortex will be allowed to claim the mountain and get those geothermals that they've been trying for nearly 40 minutes. The last holdout of the Legion. The Cortex from the land and the Armada from the sea. And the Legion was no more. I mean, there's still a few holdouts, but the Holy Legion Empire, though, may rise from the maybe next game. With Cortex still at 32 out of their original 50 commanders. The unit count dipping precipitously, as you can tell, both by the count and the FPS becoming watchable again. The dragons continue, proving their worth.
Commander destroyed.
The Armada pushed back to the ends of the earth and beyond that corner of the map in the sea. But the Cortex will find them, burninating across the entirety of the countryside. Ooh, that commander's gonna chain it. Down it goes. How did that fusion not die? A nuclear salvo across most of the map. I'm not sure if that was divine intervention or just Cortex. Either way, it appears the southern kingdom of the Cortex will reign supreme over Krakatoa. Honestly, my favorite map for this. I do want to point out, the game is not balanced around 150 players. The normal game mode is 8 versus 8. But if you want to participate in these massive cluster battles, then if you're watching this with at least in the first week or two, at the end of September, I'll wake you up before the end of it, will be the 60K event. So this event was for 50,000 members on the Discord, apparently, before I was even able to cover all the best games. We're reaching 60. It's not going to be as comprehensive, not like a 24-hour, but there will be 60, 120, and just whatever you're jamming into games. But yet again, the Cortex reigns supreme. I'd like to shout out to one player, though.
We've got at least one tier for you. Commander has been annihilated.
Let's see if I can find his commander. It's on the screen. Super Kaido. You can see it up here. If you YouTube that and search it, he has some really cool, short, concise, but very informational guides. For those, maybe not for extreme beginners, but if you've kind of picked it up and you have no idea where you're going, check out Super Kaidovic. I'm probably butchering that one. I don't even know if he has his commander alive still. I was trying to look at his commander dramatically. But the last vestiges of non-Cortex will be wiped from the map. Not even the developers could contest them.
Commander has been annihilated. Commander self-destruct.
Quite a spread of drama. One of my favorite... Wait, what? Oh, no, they're just building. There's still one commander. Of course, there's always one guy. The equivalent of floating your buildings off the map. They still haven't found him. They know he's around here somewhere. There's literally physically nowhere else. My god, the dragons? Okay, apparently don't hit anything under... Commander's pretty hard countered by nuclear missiles.
So that's how it ends.
So that's how it ends. The Cortex are able to summit the mount and claim victory. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember, beyond all reason, I've been told saying free to play gives you the impression you can buy some 6 skins that'll increase your army strength. No. Open source, as in you just need to download it, and then you can get bullied by people who did not pay for the privilege. But what the hell is that? Look into the sphere. Oh my. Well. The sphere says to like and subscribe. The sphere conquers all. The sphere says check out YouTube membership and Patreon. The sphere calls you to download the game and check out the 60K or maybe later on 70K or 80 or 100K event. Maybe eventually on Steam. Maybe. But the Sphere says it's time to thank you again for watching. And I hope I made your day at least a little bit better. If you got the means and motivation, also check out Patreon, YouTube membership, but liking and subscribing still free. At least for now. So, I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill and stay unreasonable.